So it's like 4:40 in the morning, and I've been waking up at this time like quite often. And if you'll pardon the roosters if you hear them in the background, I woke up with something on my mind, something that happened just yesterday from the moment of recording this video. So I went to hang out with a friend of mine that's here from the States. Have fun, had a really good day. That's not even what this is about. It's about what happened on the way back home. Well, on my way back home, while I was on the train, I happened to meet three people, three Germans, and we kind of hit it off. Since it was more than like an hour ride on the train, we had a lot of time to like create kind of a quick little bond and relate to some things and just kind of have a good conversation on our train ride. It turns out that these three Germans were really proud of the English that they had learned and how far they've come in learning it. And they were happy to speak it and excited to speak it. And one of the females even said that she was really attracted to American English, American vernacular or whatever. So she was excited to talk to me and to hear, my accent and hear me speaking back to her and talking to her. And you know what I'm saying. And by the way, we were three groups of people. There was two females that were together. There was a separate guy who just happened over here and then kind of joined us. And then there was me. So we got to talking about cultures. They told me how they learned English and how long it took them to learn it. They just went through their whole stories. It wasn't even like deep, dark secrets or information that's really interesting. I kind of picked up on the fact that they were just really excited to be able to use their English, and I was happy to provide that. Besides, I usually ride the train by myself and don't know anybody, and it was nice to just be able to talk to three other people, especially comfortably, because I got to speak English and not have to find my German words and put German sentences together and all of that. It was just relaxing. So in a bit of irony, in the original city that I left, I had also boarded a train with somebody who was leaving that exact city, and I don't know them. I didn't talk to them. Me and that person took the train from the city we left, and we transferred on another train going in the same direction. So I figured we were going to the same destination. And the only reason I noticed him is because he had like 4 bags. Like, this guy was like carrying 4 bags of luggage with him, and he just looked stressed out about the whole situation. So as I said, me and that guy were riding the same trains together. On the first train that we caught, there was a group of a couple guys and their girlfriends and, some other friends of theirs who were partying. You know how Germans get when they're partying on the train. So they were partying, they were loud, they had their boom box, nothing but Germans being spoken. Obviously, that's what you expect, right? But very loud, and on a full train, you would probably assume that that could get kind of annoying. But they got to have their fun. Nobody complained. Nobody said anything to them. Nobody said anything that I can hear even about them. People just pretty much ignored them. So coming back currently on the train where I'm talking to the group of Germans, right? It got to a point where they got super excited at times. And I guess they became disturbing and a little loud on the train. And that's when suddenly the guy that I had been like passively riding with along on our trip approached us and spoke in English. "Can you guys keep it down? You're disturbing the whole train." Wow, that's strange. That's new. And the same thing with the 3 others. It was just like, okay, sorry, our bad. Some time passed, conversations kept being had, things just kept progressing. We didn't think anything about it. We just kept talking and having a good time and enjoying the company of each other, basically. We didn't know each other, but it was just good company. And I'm not trying to pass the buck, because while they were speaking their English, I do feel like they would sometimes over enunciate or put extra emphasis on their words, and in that they would speak louder in it to make sure the word came out the way they wanted to hear it. I don't know. I guess things got out of hand again, and the guy came back. The stranger guy came back again. It was English at first, this time in German, and he had way more aggression this time. And he said, "You guys are way too loud. Can you please keep it down?" Like way more aggressively than what I'm saying right now. Once again, we apologized, and we were just like, "Oops, sorry, our bad." Nobody else had any complaints about this, right? The train had made a stop. During the stop, people were getting off, and the train kind of emptied a little bit. So now there's even less people on the train. So I guess now our 4 voices are traveling even more now that there's less people to actually hear. Does that make any sense? So now your brain can focus on us and our conversation rather than having to block out multiple conversations. So during this stop, I want to say the train stopped for probably 8 minutes. I don't know if it was ahead of its schedule or what, but there was like an 8 to 10 minute stop. So this guy came back to us. This time, he was going at it with them, not me, because it was in all German, and I ain't trying to argue with nobody in German, not for real. So he and the other older guy that I was with had it. They were going back and forth. The two females chimed in every now and again, but it was basically the stranger and the German older guy that I was in the group with who were arguing. So I don't need to go into everything that was said or anything like that. The point of the matter is, the whole point I'm bringing this up is, as I mentioned earlier, this guy had like 4 bags of luggage. Something tells me that this guy had been traveling for a while. He was tired. He needed some rest. He was just ready to be home. And I kind of picked up on the fact that it wasn't us that he was really bothered by. He was frustrated with his situation, and he was just taking it out on the immediate public that happened to be in his vicinity. I'm only gathering that by what I saw. I don't know this to be fact, but I do know this to be fact. He was on the train with me when there was a group that was way louder than we apparently were. On the other train, he sat quiet and he dealt with the fact that they were partying and had music, and he said nothing. So he dealt with that party, and maybe that was the final straw for him. Maybe like he couldn't take any more. So by the time he was dealing with us in our conversations, and us, I guess, being too loud in the conversation, I guess he had already reached his boiling point and he just couldn't take any more. If I had a big enough vocabulary in German, I would have been able to call him out properly, because from what I can hear when they were arguing, I don't even think they argued the point. They were just arguing, we have a right to speak as much as anybody, which is okay too. I would have called them out on another level. I would have been like, now you want to pick on maybe it's the fact that we were speaking English that he didn't like. I kind of think that had a lot to do with it. Can't prove it, but that's what I think. So I feel like I would have called him on that. Like, you had no problem with a group of people who was partying in German. Like, you had no problem with 6, 7 people who were partying with music and singing loud German songs and all of that. You had no problem with that. But you have a problem with 4 people who really aren't being that disturbing, speaking English and having a good time. You even spoke it yourself the first time when you thought it was cute, but when you got frustrated, you switched to German. So the 4 of us just happened to be speaking English, 3 of which really isn't even that annoying. It's just practice, basically. And now you have a problem. And I know he doesn't want to argue with me in English because he doesn't want to give me that advantage. So I don't know. I don't even know why I'm even talking about this, but I did wake up with it on my mind. So I just turned the camera on and talked about it. It's dark. I don't even know if you guys were able to see me the full time. Doesn't really matter. You can hear me, I'm sure. Man, I'll leave it at that. I don't want Germans like that to think that they scare me or frighten me with their butting in and aggressiveness like that, because I'm not frightened or scared of anyone who does that. It's just that most of the time, and I'm obviously not talking about everyone, but it's just that most of the time it just happens to be a German who feels like they need to butt in and disturb fun that's happening. And I'm not scared of those kinds of people. I take the higher road because mostly it's just not going to go anywhere. They're going to argue with me in German, I'm going to argue in English, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be pointless. It's just going to cause a scene in public for no reason. So I hope that guy got home safe. I hope he got the rest he needed. I'm not going to think about it after this. Got it off my chest. It's not going to be a thought after this moment. So thank you guys for listening to me talk in the dark on this 4:30 in the freaking morning. And I guess I'll talk to you guys in the next video.